Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living here in beautiful San Clemente. We're so glad you're here with us this morning, and we'd like you to join us on our first sing-along song. So if you're at home, even if you're in your jammies, it doesn't matter. You can still sing out as loud as you want, which is great. We're going to sing a Bob Marley tune called One Love, because we are in February, the month of love. And our beautiful song leaders up here, Karen and Rick, are going to start us off. So please join along. Mr. David, start us up.
Behind the scenes. Good morning, my beloved spiritual family, my beloved spiritual community, and welcome to our inspirational Sunday service here on Facebook Live. This is the Center for Spiritual Living in Capistrano Valley, and I'm so delighted that you are joining us here this morning to participate in this wonderful service. You know, I woke up this morning feeling gratitude for technology, which is a weird thing for me. But I was grateful because it's almost been a year since I've seen you, hugged you, seen your smiles. But I know that we are connected heart to heart. And through technology, we get to see each other on Facebook, on Zoom, and I'm grateful for that. So we're going to start the morning with our flames of faith, just like we do every Sunday morning. So join me. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and the practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and the path of peace. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing, through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And as practitioner Rick Dale lights the last candle, please let it represent the path that brought you here this morning. Please join me in affirmative prayer. Let us go within to that united field of pure God consciousness, where we know that there is only one divine power. There's only one first cause to all of creation. There's only one life. There's only one energy, one unconditional love, one infinite intelligence. And this presence, this essence, lives and moves and expresses through each one of us, as each one of us. We are the voice. We are the action. We are the thoughts of God here on this planet. We are the love that is expressed. Our actions are God's actions. We are truly a sacred activity of this beloved energy. And so this morning I affirm and I do decree that all is well. And today we are living in the now. We release the past. It is no longer there. It doesn't have any influence on us in this moment. We look forward to the future, but we're not concerned. We know that the power of God is in this moment of now. So we look at our life and it's a clean slate. And we are happy and responsible to create the life that we desire, the life that we deserve, the life that we love. I know that we are awake to this knowing. We are alive and aware of this divinity that lives within us and expresses as us. So this morning, we listen. We listen to Dr. Heather's message with our spiritual ears. And we open our heart and we open our mind to receive the wisdom and the knowledge that she portrays and gives us this morning. So grateful for this time together, for the beautiful music, for the wonderful energy of love right here, right now. So I place these words into the medium of love, into the subjective, subconscious mind where it's already been created. It's already done. And so I anchor this prayer in joy, in gratefulness, in thanksgiving. And we say together, and so it is. Okay, let us do our today's affirmation together. Are we ready? I am open to the promise of a clean slate, which every moment holds. I like that. Let's say that one again. I am open to the promise of a clean slate, which every moment holds. And now our declaration of principles. I believe in God, the one creative intelligence operating through the universe and throughout my entire being, now and always. I believe this perfect spirit operates upon a law of mind and creates my experience exactly according to my belief. I believe this perfect creative intelligence can be used by me and by every other person to produce health, abundance, and love in mind, body, and total life experience. So I use it now, and I rejoice in it, and so it is.
And now we're going to go into our meditation time, and we have a beautiful song that we're singing, which is I Send My Love by Joyce Ripp and Karen Drucker. I didn't know Karen Drucker had someone that helped her write that song. But it's beautiful, and we will then follow that with a short meditation.
Send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me, and it returns to me.
And that love that has returned to us changes us, reveals the truth of us. And it really does start with self. And so this morning we're going to do Ho'oponopono during our meditation, and that simply is these phrases. First of all, thinking about yourself. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And once we've done that phrase many, many times, so that we can feel our heart softening, then I invite you to continue with the phrases, but choose someone that you know really needs love. Someone in your family, one of your friends, someone. So now in the silence. and bringing yourself back into the present moment, being here fully now. And we welcome back Allendale.
Good morning, our spiritual family. We also miss you. Looking forward to when we can be together again. So this song we're going to sing for you is a Rick Dale original, kind of about a clean slate.
Clear the decks, get ready for something.
Yes, for a clean slate.
Get ready for the good in everything. Prepare to be boarded by the party of love. Expect to be blown away by what you dream. Turn around and consider where you have been. Now look where you're going. It's your decision. Proceed with open arms and open the impossible. A good thing coming one way or another, and you thought being taught give to each other. You can't hate someone else and love yourself. So why don't you open your heart and get ready for the good? Yeah. Get ready for the good. It's coming. Well, existential is fine when you're driving blind. Just getting by won't suffice to feed your soul. You deserve what you think you do, and you know it. But all the gifts of God are surrounding you. Good, 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 but not too good to believe in. Expect to be blown away by what you're dreaming. They're coming one way or another. A new thought being taught. Give to each other. You can't hate someone else and love yourself. Why don't you open your heart and get ready for the good? It's coming. Get ready for the good. You could be more than you think you are. The heat of the sun, the light of a star. The best that life offers is what you allow. Are you ready, ready now? Things coming one way or another. You thought being taught give to each other. Well, you can't hate someone else and love yourself. So why don't you open your heart and be ready for the good thing coming one way or another. It's a new thought being taught. Love one another. You can't hate anyone and love yourself. So why don't you open your heart and be ready for the good now? Get ready for the good. 'Cause there's a good thing coming. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a good thing coming. A good thing coming. Here we go. A good thing coming.
Woo. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, that was the message. There's a good thing coming. It's on its way, and you decide what it's going to be. So this month continues with wisdom and evolutionary vision, but it really is one journey, many paths for the month of February. And today's message is a clean slate. And so I was thinking, you know, clean slate, we haven't used slates for 100 years, but it was what was used to teach reading and writing and practice, and then you'd clean off the slate. And what I remember from being a teacher, and once you've written on that blackboard, on the slate, on the green board, or whatever color it isn't clean anymore. You can erase whatever that you've written as long as it's erasable, but it isn't clean anymore. But metaphysically, when we have the opportunity to begin again, sometimes life gives us opportunities, and sometimes, so we could think of the pandemic has given us a big opportunity. And by the way, I got my first dose of Pfizer vaccine on Friday. I was so excited, and it was so good. They're so well organized, and it was, it didn't hurt. It hurt a little bit yesterday, but today it's nothing again. So I'm pleased about that, and pleased for all the other people who have either got it or have appointments. And this COVID-19 has changed everyone's lives. As Reverend Judy said, and Reverend Karen mentioned, this empty room is not what we think of as our center. We think of our center as the people that come and the people that are here and can hardly wait to see you again in person. But meanwhile, we'll certainly take the technology, the being able to see each other on Zoom or on Facebook Live or however we're seeing each other, it beats not seeing each other at all, by a long shot. So this, it's okay. Even if there's someone there that can't come in, we're still not open. So, unless one of the band tried to. Anyway, where was I? Oh, I wanted to tell you a story I found yesterday. A couple of guys were going to the mountains to ski, and they were hit by a blizzard. Now, that means they had to stop because they couldn't see, it was a whiteout, and so they pulled off, and there was a farmhouse, and a beautiful older woman was there at the farmhouse, a retiree, but she said to them, I would invite you to stay here, but I'm recently widowed, and the neighbors would talk, but I have a very comfortable barn. If you wouldn't mind, you're welcome to stay there. And the men both said, oh, they would love to do that, and they would just let themselves out of the barn in the morning because they were sure that the snow would have stopped by then. Well, sure enough, it stopped, and they went up, had their weekend skiing, and then about 9 months later, their names were Rolly and Jack. Jack got something in the mail, and it kind of puzzled him, so he went to a coffee shop and met Rolly, and he said, Rolly, remember when we stopped during the whiteout, we stopped at the farmhouse and stayed in the barn? Well, did you by any chance go up into the house and spend the night or some of the night with the widow there? And Rolly kind of said, yeah, I did. How did you know? And he said, well, and by any chance did you give her my name instead of your own? And he really blushed then. He said, yeah, I did. What's going on? Well, he said, that explains it then. I got a letter from her attorney, and I have inherited her whole estate. So there you go. Use your own name. Be yourself. Be bold. And in this holy moment of right now, we can have as clean a slate as we decide to have. As we decide to have. one of the stories I read was a story about a woman in Rwanda whose everyone she knew had been wiped out through the genocide. She was the lone survivor of her family, of her tribe. And having that kind of a clean slate isn't what, I mean, that is a clean slate, because there's no one left to help you remember the good times. To say, oh, I remember when, or do you remember when? So it's an inside job only, and only for as long as your memory is clear and fresh. So having a bit of a past to remember is actually a good thing. As long as we're not enslaved by it, principle is not bound by precedent. So that means that any time, just as Rick's beautiful song said, any time we want to choose a new beginning, a clean slate, a new idea, envision ourselves as something that we've always wanted to be, a pianist, a poet, a writer, a painter, whatever it is, that's the moment we can do it. Dr. Ken Gordon has a wonderful article in this month's Science of Mind magazine, and it's about his retirement. When we left convention last year, that was the end of February, and that was his last of, I think he said in his article, because it was more than 21 years, I think it was 30-some years that he had been in service to one of the organizations, because he was the president of Religious Science International before he became the spiritual leader of Centers for Spiritual Living. So he just has been in leadership, and he had a wonderful retirement plan. He had, when we used to travel together for Centers for Spiritual Living, he said, Dr. Deb is so good. She's been putting aside money for years and years. We've got plenty for retirement when we decide to do it. We've got plenty. So he says, so I've got lots of money and I have this wonderful plan. Every month we've got a speaking engagement somewhere and we're going to go a different place every month. We're going to go to the Maritimes because we've never been there. A different place every month. Well, then the pandemic happened and Canada closed. And even though we think we're the only ones that are not able to travel, no, the whole world is locked down. His best friend is Jim Lockhart. They couldn't, one of the plans was, I'm sure, to visit Jim. No, all of those plans were postponed, canceled for now. And he said he found himself getting cranky. Well, actually, he said, I noticed the other people around me were getting crankier and crankier. Then he thought, maybe it has something to do with me. And yes, and he said he realized what was happening. He was trying to make this new normal fit into his original plans. In other words, he was bringing the past into the present and into the future. And the point of power is always in the present moment. And when he realized that, he started doing some other things. He started taking up cooking. And there's wonderful skiing around where he lives, so maybe skiing, but he said, and golfing. He bought an electric bike and has been biking, and evidently you can get fit from riding an electric bike because he says he's fitter now than he ever has been. He's taken up painting again, all sorts of pursuits that he probably didn't have time or energy to do as he was our spiritual leader, because I think he told me sometime that he traveled something like 250 days a year traveling. So that doesn't leave many days at home. You have to unpack your suitcase and then wash clothes and pack it again pretty well. And of course, here we are. We're in the midst of creation. We're in the midst of what's going to be next for us. And I know, I'm pretty sure that you've been doing some visioning, and if you haven't, you'll be doing some more, for certain. You'll be really getting clear about what is it that you really want in your senior minister. And then all of you, not just Judy's team, they've been doing the groundwork, but it isn't their team that gets to decide. It's going to be every single member or friend of our center that gets to decide. So, yeah, we have things going on. The minister who wrote this month's notes for the month, is the one that proposed that we do Ho'oponopono. So I did have her meditation, and just for those of you who may have forgotten, Ho'oponopono, that I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you, is a powerful Hawaiian prayer that actually the person who made it's an old Hawaiian prayer, so it's way more ancient than Hugh Len or Len Hugh, not sure which is his real name, but he was a psychiatrist and he was, his last post was an organization for the criminally insane. And these people were never expected to get well. They were seen as hopeless, never expected to get well. And it was a dangerous, drab, cold place, and the staff were all scared all the time. And fear begets fear. So you can imagine, and he got there, and mostly he stayed in his office. He got all of the files of all of the patients, and he stayed in his office. But something started happening. People, first of all, the staff started to feel more confident, and instead of being scared all the time, they actually were engaging with the patients. And then one by one, the patients got better, and they were released. And said, you must be a genius. How on earth did you accomplish this? No one has been able to work with these people. And he said, it's an ancient prayer. So over every person's file, not even with the person there, he'd say, he'd see this person's life and how it had been, and say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And it makes sense on every level. I'm sorry. Why? Because we're all connected. So in some way, this person's treatment is in the collective consciousness. This person's illness is in the collective consciousness. So if we take it individually and personally and say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. And then say thank you. Really meaning it, thank you. Well, anyway, they were able to close that hospital. And then people have studied with Hugh Len and have written books about it, etc. It is one of the ways to have that clean slate. And the person who wrote it said her clean slate happened as a surprise. She was planning to go on a silent spiritual retreat. We ministers love silent retreats, mostly in the old days before COVID, in the normal time. Now in the new abnormal time, not so much, but because we've got silent retreat all day long as we're sheltering at home in place. But many ministers think, oh, that would be so lovely just to have silence. And she said, instead of a retreat, I got COVID. And it was a surprise because I'd been careful, I wore my mask all the time, I social distance. And then we had the very last thing I did, the symptom that no one had told me about, he has lower back pain. I'd started, my lower back started giving me horrible, horrible pain. And it was not a good day to have a backache because I was going to see my mother with my daughter and my 3-year-old granddaughter. But she did it anyway. And she said, driving to my mother's, none of us wore masks. We weren't social distancing. And then later that day, I realized I was really getting sick. So you can imagine, as she was at home, she said, as planning for if I ever got COVID, I thought I'd just end up catching up on my reading and maybe watching Netflix like other people have been doing or something like that. She said, there was nothing but watching the leaves outside. I was too tired, too exhausted, without no strength at all to do anything but get in touch with my feelings. And she said, and their mixture of feelings was enormous. The guilt and the shame and the worry that I'd brought harm to my family, to my mother, to my grandchild, the worry of that, and the wonder, how did I contract this thing? How did I get it? And anyway, so you can imagine her mind was just spinning, 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 and it was not bringing her any kind of comfort. She tried to get still. And then finally, she decided to meditate on her fever. And as she did, she said, it increased. The fever got, as I was meditating on my fever, it got higher and higher. And so much so that it actually broke, and I could feel the sweat dripping down my face. My pajamas were soaked. But it actually was the turning point. She said she was sick for about 15 days. So her retreat, her COVID retreat was 15 days, and none of her family contracted the disease. She said she felt very blessed by the prayers of her whole community. Imagine, they would be so concerned about her. Our minister is sick and has COVID-19. And they were all praying, and she's fine. And she's fine. She used one of her spiritual practices, the practice of meditation, to her benefit, to bring about that clean slate. So, here we are. We're in the midst of creating new things. And people keep sending me things that they think I should know, and I do need to know these things. I've been saying to the committee, and we'll hear more about that in a minute, but I've been saying that my vision is by March 7th, the rules have changed and we're able to have people again in our sanctuary. Well, and evidently there was something, so the governor has said he's going to have something to say about churches reopening this coming Wednesday. So at least I think that was the person that sent me said, oh, disregard the first one. It was from June, because that was the last time we were told we could reopen, doing, a minimal amount of things. So part of my clean slate is envisioning. I have no desire. I have no inner desire or outer desire to leave California without seeing you in person. That's my selfishness. I want to see you. I want to be surrounded by you. I want the energy of connection that is always between us when we're together. That's what I want. So, yeah, I'm envisioning it too, but if I need to let go, I will. I think I read that poem maybe 5 or 6 times I'm not going to share it with you today, but maybe sometime this month. It seems to be very appropriate about she let go. Because that often is why we're not experiencing our good. Because we haven't let it go. We haven't released it. The steps of spiritual mind treatment end with release. So we first of all remember what God is and where God is, and then we unify with God, and then we boldly declare what it is we want as if we already have it, and then we give great thanks for it, and then we let it go. Then we release it. And it's the release is one of the most important steps, because the law cannot work for us if we're still trying to do it ourselves. So the universe doesn't need your help. The law is going to work perfectly without you manipulating. In fact, your manipulations are probably getting in the way of your highest good. So let go, let God, let it be, let this blank slate, this clean slate, be a time of great celebration and new beginnings. We are all so worthy of this. This community, not just the ones I'm talking to, but the whole community that have been growing here for 52 years. This community is so worthy of being able to be meeting in person. And we are so willing, I am so willing to take my time and do it correctly so that all beings are safe and all beings are well. And all beings come along with us. So, in this holy moment of now, I declare this clean slate that I'm writing on is one of prosperity, of love, of freedom, of friends, of commitment and connection. We can and do have it all, and so it is. Raucous applause, and now I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray for each of us in the first person. This is what I know is so. I know that there is only one life, and that life is God's life. That life is whole, complete, and perfect in every way. It is divine mind, everywhere present. It is all-knowing, all-power. It is that thing itself that is forever nudging us towards our greater awareness, our greater self-awareness, our greater truth, the highest truth within. So knowing that this is so, and knowing that I am one with that power, there is no separation. God and I are one. And in this knowingness, in this truth, in this way, I speak this word for everyone, but in the first person, so individualize it however you desire. I know that this is a time of health. This is a time of vitality and energy and life, that truly I am spiritually mature and physically youthful forever, youthful, filled with vitality and energy as God's love as me. I know that my life is surrounded by, and in what indwells me is connection and love for one another. So many friendships, so many good things occurring, so much to be thankful for. I know that this day is a day of decision making, that I decide to envision what I do want as if it's already so. And I call it good and very good. I call my life filled with meaning. I am open and receptive to new creativity flowing through me and new ideas coming to mind. I am open and receptive to being the very best possible shape that I could be. I'm open and receptive to being compensated financially for just being. For just being. God is my source and the source of my supply. I'm so grateful for this, and so I say for myself and all others who are willing to accept this, it is good, it is God, it is done. And with my heart overflowing with gratitude, I release this to the law of God. God's law has it, it's done, and so it is. And now Allendale.
You know what happens when you clean your slate? One of the things that happens is that you see everything clearly.
2, 3, 4. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. And I can see all obstacles in my way.
We have some things to announce, some things to be grateful for. Do you want to go ahead, Reverend Karen?
Yes, I'm going to start. In celebrating our beloved senior minister, we have 2 events. Actually, there's 3 events that I'd like to announce. So first of all, her last Sunday with us is March 7th. And we don't know yet, we will be open or not. But if you're not able to be here physically, then please tune in. This is going to be a very special, meaningful service for Dr. Heather and for all of us who love her so much. And then after the service, you're going to have the opportunity to say goodbye to Dr. Heather in your car. We're scheduling drive-by meetings with her. And we're going to have them so that you're not waiting in your car too long. So that's why there's going to be scheduled times. And you'll get to see her in person and say your goodbyes. And then on Friday, March 12th, we are hosting a virtual party. And this is from 6 to 9. And again, an opportunity to say goodbye to Dr. Heather. We'd love for you to be at the Zoom party. And there's going to be great speakers, great music, and people that we probably haven't seen in a long time are going to be involved as well. So please put that on your calendar and don't miss it, because this is our beautiful final farewell to our wonderful leader, and we will miss her. So there you go.
And another announcement is next Friday, the 12th of February, is our Zoom meeting honoring Jean Stone's life. And the Zoom link is with the, it's on our website, and it's also with the other activities coming up. Love anyone that wants to acknowledge him, and any of you that he's made a difference in your lives, please come on over to the Zoom meeting next Friday, and it's 7 o'clock, 7 till whenever, probably 9, and we'll just celebrate Gene and his life. And I want to acknowledge the people that are doing the work behind the scenes. So the practitioners today are Marlene Kuckler, Patrick Freeman, and 2 out of 3 and bad. But I do know the third one, so I'll come back to that. So I'll acknowledge the people here first. But it isn't someone here, is it? It's not. Patrick and Marlene, and I'll come back to it. I'd like to acknowledge all of you for being here, the people here, let's start right here, because our music is so spectacular. Thank you, Rick, for your creativity as well as your talent. That song was wonderful. And of course, I Can See Clearly Now is a perfect song for today. So thank you, Alan Dale, for leading the songs. I know you've got one more to lead, and for your own contribution. So great. And then our band, David Page, Bill Dixon, Ed Cusby, Diane King Band. And back in the sound booth today, we have Mary Brogdon doing the videos, and Dave Freeman, very masked up Dave Freeman. The blind Dave is back up doing the sound. And our camp band, we'll get to the Noir in a bit, but the person that started our service and does such a great job, Reverend Judy Chapman. And on camera, Noir. So thank you to each of you. I wrote it down. Hang on a second. That third person is... Third person is a person who has a perfect name, Faith. Faith Mackey is the third person, so I will not do that again. I know it's not kosher, and thank you for the Jeopardy bit. So that brings us to our time to give. It really is so, I'm so grateful whenever I see who's given, either texting or PayPal or sending checks. None of you are here. Well, there are a few of us here, but thank you, thank you, thank you for your givingness. We are connected in that giving. And without you, there would be no ability to have this service, have this time. So thank you in advance. And let's say our prosperity affirmation together. My offering is my acceptance of God as the source of my supply and symbolizes my faith in the abundant flow of this supply. Amen and amen. And that brings us to the closing song. Reverend Judy, there's lots of room on this platform for you to be up here social distance with us.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down that road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
Love is my decision here and now. Join me, and so it is.